Today on the program, we get a preview of this year's Las Cruces International Film Festival, which features many independent films and special events with Hollywood stars Ron Perlman and Eric Roberts. The festival will take place April 3rd through 7th at Allen Theater Cineport 10 with special events around the city of Las Cruces. Joining us today is an NMSU professor and filmmaker and executive director of the Las Cruces International Film Festival, Ross Marks. Ross, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
It's been pretty exciting to see the film festival develop over the years. Can you kind of share with us a little bit about the early days of the film festival and just how much it's grown?
Sure, yeah, it's really has been rewarding and exciting to see the growth. It started as the White Sands International Film Festival, so 15 years ago. And I was asked to take over to White Sands. I ran the White Sands Film Festival for a few years, and then decided I didn't like the direction it was going, and then reinvented the Las Cruces International Film Festival at New Mexico State University, where it's now a student-run event. And we probably had 2,000 people 9 years ago. Last year we had 10,000. This year we're expecting 12,000. We've had some incredible guests. We've had Academy Award winner Brendan Fraser, Academy Award winner Richard Dreyfuss. We've had Edward James Olmos, George Lopez, William H. Macy, Giancarlo Esposito, and of course, as you mentioned, this year Ron Perlman. So it's getting easier to attract guests like that because we've been successful and they've heard about us. Somebody will come here, have a great time. They'll see incredible audiences. They'll go back to LA and say, man, I was just at this really cool festival. It's like the Sundance of the Southwest, which I love that name because we celebrate independent filmmakers. And it's just grown in terms of attendance, in terms of the quality of the films, the quality of the guests, community support. We get about 3,000 people out of state. So it's become a real film festival.
Having students run this film festival, what sort of opportunities does that present for them, putting together a film festival like this and having networking opportunities?
So when I started teaching, I asked myself, what was the biggest lesson that I ever got as a filmmaker? What was the most valuable thing I learned? And without a doubt, it was going to the Sundance Film Festival. It really was transformative. It changed my life. I went to Park City, Utah in 1994 as a young filmmaker just out of grad school, and I saw all these people running around, directors, writers, producers, actors, cinematographers, who were just celebrating independent film, making movies. Didn't matter the budget, didn't matter the stars, didn't matter distribution. They were just making movies, which I fell in love with this idea of independent cinema, the independence of it. And so I went back and I made a movie, and the next year it got in a movie called Homage and won an award at Sundance, and went again with another movie I did called The Twilight of the Gold. So I've been to Sundance several times now as a filmmaker and as a film fan. It just changed my life. So I thought, how do I teach that to my students? I can't do a field trip to Park City every year. It's too expensive. Why don't I try and bring Sundance to Las Cruces for my students? And that was the genesis of this. I thought, why not start our own film festival and let them work on it, let them program it, let them do the marketing, let them do all the interaction with filmmakers, and let them have that firsthand real-world experience of an independent film festival. And that was the idea behind it, and it's really taken off.
This film festival also offers an opportunity for local filmmakers in the area to showcase their work. Can you kind of share with us some success stories, perhaps, of how films have been discovered?
Absolutely. It's really important to us that we grow the film industry in southern New Mexico with the film festival. We kind of view ourselves as the mouthpiece. We shout out, hey, southern New Mexico is this great place for film. We have a whole local shorts block that we program with 14 to 15 independent short films. We also, anytime there's a good local film, we always make sure to program it. This year's opening night film, Little Brother, was made by two CMI alum, Keegan Carnes and Sheridan O'Donnell, two Las Crucens. So we're excited about that. There's a lot of really good, the Long Road of Tao was a film that was made with CMI at NMSU in Las Cruces. So anytime there's a good Las Cruces, southern New Mexico, or even New Mexico film for that matter, we're sure to program it.
About how many films does the festival get every year?
We get over 1,000 submissions. This year we had over 1,000 submissions, which is the most we've ever had, and we program about 100.
Is this pretty much a year-long effort to really make this happen?
Absolutely. So the festival's April 3rd to the 7th. On April 8th, we start working for 2025. But in the fall, I teach a class on the film festival where the students program the festival, and in the spring, the class runs the festival. So it really, I mean, we have tremendous community support. We have a great advisory committee with people that help us, but it's really, we put it on the students' shoulders and let them put this thing, you know, march it up the hill.
There's also a 48-hour film festival challenge in this. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, first of all, it's the largest 48-hour film contest in the Southwest, bigger than anything in Arizona, bigger than anything in Texas, Nevada, Colorado. So we're really proud of that. We get about 50 to 60 entries every year. And the teams come out and we give them a genre, we give them a line of dialogue they have to use, we give them a prop, and then in 48 hours they have to write, shoot, and edit a film, and then we screen those on the Saturday of the festival. It's always a big attendance. People love to watch those. And then we announce the winners at the award ceremony that night.
The film festival always honors folks who have dedicated, you know, their career to film, the film industry. Can you share with us who's getting some honors this year?
Sure. So our big award is always the Outstanding Achievement Entertainment Award. And like I said, we've had Danny Trejo, we've had Sybil Shepherd, Richard Dreyfuss, Brendan Fraser, Edward James Olmos, George Lopez, Giancarlo Esposito, William H. Macy, and this year's guest Outstanding Achievement Award winner is Ron Perlman. And you know, Ron's got an incredible career. He's had about a 50-year career. And it shows like Sons of Anarchy, won a Golden Globe for Beauty and the Beast. Everyone, of course, knows him for his iconic role in Hellboy. But Ron is a working class character actor. He takes roles that a lot of actors don't take. And so for that reason, we wanted to honor him and celebrate him. You know, we don't necessarily honor the most well-known actors or the sexiest actors. We try to get, you know, like Giancarlo Esposito, a real great character actor, William H. Macy. So Las Cruces in southern New Mexico is a working person's town, working person's community, and we try to, you know, embrace that from an acting standpoint in the face of the festival, which this year's Ron Perlman. We're also giving an award to producer Jason Clark, who's Seth MacFarlane's producing partner, produced the movie Ted. We're going to do a special screening of Ted with Jason. And then Eric Roberts, of course, who's got more film credits than any actor in history, 718, I believe, at last count.
Wow.
718 movies he's made. So we're going to give him an award at our award ceremony, Outstanding Achievement in Comedy and Drama, because he can certainly do both.
You also have events with our special guests at the film festival. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so Ron Perlman's going to speak on campus on April 4th at 2 p.m. at the Center for the Arts, and that's free and open to the public, so it's a chance for everyone to come out and see him and at no cost, and for our students to listen to someone who's been very successful, not just in the entertainment industry, but in life. Eric Roberts is going to speak Saturday the 6th, 2 p.m. at the Rio Grande Theater, and he wants to do a workshop on how to create a career in the entertainment industry, how to maintain it, how to market yourself, how to behave on set, how to network, and if anyone knows how to do it, it's him. So those are two things that I think people should certainly attend, and then we're going to have workshops and panels throughout the day on Thursday the 4th and on Friday the 5th.
You have had the opportunity to work with Mr. Roberts. Can you share with us a little bit about that?
I just did a Christmas movie called The Santa Sis, where Eric Roberts plays Santa. Proud of the fact that we had KRWG in there as playing the media and several of your reporters and cameramen, which was great. And Eric was amazing. He was delightful. I mean, I was a little worried that somebody, you know, I've done 10 films. He's done 700. So I thought, wow, he's going to, you know, kind of look at me as a neophyte, as somebody that doesn't have a lot of experience. He's going to question my decisions, but it's really the opposite. Say, hey, Eric, can you try this? He said, you got it, boss. What do you need, boss? Okay, boss. He was just, and I understand why he works so much. If somebody isn't pleasant and work hard, they don't get hired. So I should have figured out, the guy's done 700 credits, people like working with him.
One thing I find really interesting with this film festival is that you honor a community member throughout in the film festival. Can you share with us a little bit about that community award? Sure.
So we have an award that we give out at the award ceremony called the Hometown Hero. And you know, Las Cruces is the greatest community I've ever lived in my life. It's the greatest town. They've been so supportive of not just me and my family. Going back to 1966, my late father-in-law, Mark Medoff, who really started all this for all of us. He got me involved in the film festival. He got me involved as a filmmaker, and he's really, you know, created the film community, the arts in Las Cruces in so many ways. So to thank the community, we wanted to identify somebody each year to represent the community. This year it's Wanda Bowman, the owner of Ashley Furniture. She's been a long supporter of not just the film festival, but the community in general and the arts, and she's done so much. So, we want to say as the film festival, thank you for all you do for Las Cruces, and Wanda is this year's recipient of the Hometown Hero Award.
Very exciting. Can you share with us a little bit about how you feel this event contributes to the growth of the film industry in our part of New Mexico?
Sure. So the film festival, like I said, we view as the mouthpiece for film in southern New Mexico. We bring in 60 to 70 filmmakers every year. When those filmmakers come in, we show them that Las Cruces is a great place to make a movie. And I'm really proud of the fact that we've had nearly a dozen filmmakers who have come in for the film festival, screened their films, fallen in love with Las Cruces, they come back and make a movie. This year, Film Las Cruces, our partner, one of our partners, the Film Office, is doing a location scout. So they're going to take filmmakers on a tour of all the different locations in southern New Mexico where they could make their next movie. So kind of entice them and excite them about Las Cruces. So, one of the ways we grow the film industry is, we bring all the people together to celebrate film, independent film specifically. We bring the filmmakers in. We bring guests who are not just, neat to hear about because of their storied career, but they also teach people to work in the film industry. We train people to work in film. This year we've got a workshop in hair and makeup. We've got a writing for film and television. We've got a producing. We've got a marketing. We've got an independent producing. So we do a number of panels and workshops and seminars to help people in southern New Mexico get into the film industry.
One of the things New Mexico has done is it's taken steps to bring and lure film and television to the state. Taxpayers have been supporting this effort with tax incentives around 25% to possibly 40% for eligible spending by film production companies. How do you feel this incentive plays a role in the growth of the industry in the state?
Well, to be frank, it's the reason we have the industry. If we were to lose the incentive, we would lose the industry. Last year, film and television in New Mexico was a $1 billion industry, $955 million to be exact, and change. And the state incentive is 25%, but in Las Cruces, courtesy of our great Senator Jeff Steinborn, who fought to get the rural tax lift, it's actually 35%. If you shoot in a studio or a qualified tax production facility, it's 40%. So 40%, that's the highest in the nation. There's no place higher. That means for every dollar that you spend in New Mexico, the state gives you that money as an incentive to come and shoot here. So what does that mean? You're creating jobs. So the film industry is a huge job creator. I'm a professor at CMI. Our students graduate. Every one of them that wants to work finds work because there's a demand for New Mexico workers in the film industry. It drives direct spending. So when film comes to town, they buy lumber, they buy props, they spend money in hotels and restaurants. So a lot of money is spent. So the reason, the incentive, I believe, is it's like 7 to 1. So for every dollar that the incentive gives back to the film, that film gives $7 of direct spend to New Mexico. So it's really a great return and a great investment. And for a state like New Mexico, which doesn't have a ton of industry,
or a ton of people.
Or a ton of people, right, exactly. Like right now in T.R.C., Emma Stone is, shooting a movie with a number of other actors. So that's a big deal. She just won the Academy Award a couple of weeks ago, and now she's in southern New Mexico making a movie. And that's it's all because of the tax incentive.
Do you think that this incentive is sustainable as other states compete for the industry to come to the area? Because New Mexico doesn't have as many people as California, New York, Georgia. So do you think this is something that can be sustainable for the state?
Yeah, it's not just sustainable, it's growing. The incentive and the direct spend has grown year after year after year to record levels. And big companies like Netflix, NBC Universal are investing not just millions, billions of dollars in infrastructure, building studios, building stages. We're getting ready to build a couple of stages here in Las Cruces. So I know like Arizona, our neighbor there to the west, is getting ready to launch their incentive. But we're about 15, 20 years ahead of them. We've already got the stage, we've already got the equipment, we've already got the workforce. So I think we've got such a big jump on people that are getting into it now that it's not just sustainable, but I think it'll continue to grow.
There's a lot of excitement in Las Cruces about the film industry and the future of the film industry with the investments that have been made for New Mexico State University and Doña Ana Community College, and with the CMI program at the university. Can you share with us a little bit about the things that are happening within the department?
Sure. First of all, our program is just exploding. Sadly, we actually have an application process because we can't serve all the students that want to become majors at CMI, so we have to turn some students away, and we'd like to try to change that and service. We've got the premier film program in the state by leaps and bounds. Our students, when they graduate, they work because they're trained and they're experienced, and we give them real-world experience, on-set experience, learning by doing experience. There's some DACC's got the CMT program. They've got a new building going up at Arrowhead. There's going to be a soundstage joining them at Arrowhead. Hopefully CMI will have a building at Arrowhead, so we'll have this whole creative campus, which will be an explosion of film and television and all the ancillary disciplines that follow.
Well, it's certainly very exciting. Where do you see filmmaking and the future of film and television in our region being in, say, a decade?
We're getting a very good reputation for independent filmmakers. That's primarily what we're seeing in southern New Mexico is independent film. We're not seeing Netflix, we're not seeing Universal. Those are going to Albuquerque. So the independent films, In the Summers was an independent film, was made a year ago, shot entirely in Las Cruces, just won the Sundance Grand Jury Prize and the Best Director Award. So, that tells you the type of quality of independent films we're getting. So I think we're going to become one of the premier destination for independent film is going to be Las Cruces in southern New Mexico.
There were some folks that spoke out in this year's Academy Awards about supporting independent films and the many film projects that are being proposed. Where do you see the future of independent films being in say, that time?
Well, there's some great distributors for independent film, particularly A24. A24, has figured it out on how to not just make good films, but also attract an audience. Because at the end of the day, you're trying to speak to an audience. If you're trying to recoup your investment at least, or make money so you can invest it in the next independent film. And I think somebody at the Academy Awards said for every $200 million Marvel movie, you could make 10, 20 million independent films, or 20 $5 million films, which I'd like to see more of. But independent film, Christopher Nolan started as an independent filmmaker, right? Greta Gerwig started as an independent, we all start as storytellers, as independent filmmakers. And then as we get a little bit bigger, we get into the studio system, and that's, there's rewards, but there's also some challenges working within the studios, and that kind of money. But I think we're going to see better films. We're going to see filmmakers stay true to their independent roots. You and I were talking earlier, the Coen brothers are making a movie here in New Mexico. They're independent filmmakers. So you tell me a filmmaker that you like and whose work you admire, and I can trace their roots back to independent filmmaking.
Okay, we just have about 30 seconds left, but what are you the most excited about with this film festival this year?
I'm most excited about, I've spent a good bit of time now with Ron Perlman, and he is every bit as edgy and cranky in person as he is on the roles he plays. So I'm really interested to see how he deals with thousands of people asking for pictures and autographs. So I'm fascinated by that interaction to see how he handles it.
Well, that should be a fascinating discussion held here on campus with Ron Perlman.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Ross Marks is Executive Director of the Las Cruces International Film Festival. Ross, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.